How you guys doing? Another day, another beer. I am. I'm kind of surprised that I have as many subscribers as I do. I get a lot of watch hours, um, but that's because I know the truth. Uh, I tell you, that Gospel of Thomas really hits home when you figure out what's going on, and we're like victims of a. Well, I can't say. Well, we are victims of the book, but it's of our own fault. So there you go. What are you supposed to do about that? See, our troubles come from we don't understand it, or we can't get the context of what is trying to be imparted to us by this word, because it's misunderstandings of terms, maybe even over over glorification of things, like the Son of Man, for instance. The Son of Man is not to be glorified. The Son of Man is just any man. Um, and when the Son of Man comes in his glory, I don't know who's the his. Is he going to come in God's glory or his own? Because that's what people don't understand about the Son of Man. The Son of Man is not even a real thing. It's like a person that remains for just a little while. And that Son of Man, you, has to pick which father it's going to serve. And you have to choose. If you're alive, your works make the choice for you. So if you can't control yourself, well, then I guess you're a victim of the devil or something, then, right? But that's what the Son of Man is. It's not, nobody's coming. We're already here. We need to do the work. This is pointless. This is exactly what Paul talked about. Their minds being seared as if with an iron. And you got this thing, wrapped around your thoughts like a chain that only allows you to see one way. Belief is it's a very serious thing, you know. I mean, really, if you were to open your front door, and whether you were, maybe you had some kind of a mental breakdown or something, but you looked out, and that wouldn't be funny, but let's say you look out your door and you see fire, right? But it's not really there. But to you, that belief is as good as a brick wall, unless you're a fireman and you like to walk into that stuff, right? So belief it's a very serious thing. It's a very, well, the impacts of what people believe are can be damaging, you know. Social media, really bad at that, because, they paint a bad picture. And then if you see enough people on board, like a crowd, well, that's the many, right? And when you see the many moving in one direction, you're kind of going like, well, I don't want it could be in many different ways in which you're corrupted, right? You could look at it and think, well, they can't all be wrong. Um, and, and so then you start heading down that path. Um, Let me tell you something. We're all wrong, all of us. And it's because of, again, it's the way this book is written, the way the scriptures are written, or independent of the scriptures. That word, K-N-O-W, know. Well, it's also used to refer to, you know, whatever activities there are that cause fruit, like when a man knows a woman, right? She bears a child. Well, since you are the Son of Man, you have to be known by one of these two fathers. One of these two spirits is going to cause you to do what it is, and that's what this book is about. It's about describing something that's inside of you, that's like a switch, right? Um, yeah, we are using the book wrong is the best way I can put it. And you're like, what do you mean using it wrong? Well, of course, you have to use it. It's used for rebuking, for rebuilding, for teaching, and so on, right? And we're using it wrong. We're using it as a weapon instead of as a farming implement. That's the swords that are beaten into farming implements. Our hint would have been at the tomb when who did they see outside of the tomb? The gardener. And the reason for the one or two angels that are left in the tomb, okay, or standing outside the tomb, those are the two sides of the Lord. The Lord has two different kinds of spirits, I guess you could say. He works in light and in dark. He's sovereign over all. And so that means everything, even if it's terribly bad and going wrong. We've done something wrong. How is he in charge of it? Not in a puppet master kind of way. He's not pulling strings and dancing us around. The way that we're being led is by a book. The book has the instructions in it. The book has the truth in it of what will happen if you proceed in a variety of different ways. The pandemic could have been stopped if we would have used that book properly. There's two very important scriptures in there: Exodus 14:14 and Isaiah 26:20. And Isaiah 20, and you know, when you say be still and let God fight for you, that's just the whole thing. You're either for him or against him. And if he's doing something that you shouldn't be a part of, moving in a judgmental way, or in a way that could even be considered harsh or even evil, right? Like when he went in and wiped out the firstborn in Egypt. You know, uh, Unfortunately, sometimes you have to fight fire with fire, right? And that's how he works it. But the difference is he absolves himself of dispensing any evil, because what he does is he gives us the desires of our heart. And see, it's a very fine line, right? What do we say? That the Lord cannot tempt us. Now, if you've asked for something, and asking doesn't mean, hey, God, can I have, you know, can you bring me 12 cases of beer, and that's not what that means. Asking is doing. That is the knowing, the doing, the action that actually produces the fruit. So if you ask for something, start to do it, there are no chains to stop you from doing whatever it is that you do, except for what's in the place of the skull. Okay. You may be given opportunities, uh, you know, within the situation, right? Like I know I shouldn't sin. I shouldn't be messing with this person. Then all of a sudden, what happens? The phone starts ringing. It could be that simple. That phone ringing is like a choice between doing something wrong and just doing anything else. And that happens very, very often, right? Somebody will knock on a door or whatever. Something will stop you. And that's the providence of the Lord, because he rules over the creation. So there could be inanimate, almost seemingly non-purposeful things that just get tossed into your path to help, you know, make the right turns, right? That's how he guides us. He guides us through fear. In fact, we felt no fear, obviously, in the garden. So We felt no fear in the garden until we felt fear. And then once we felt fear, at that point, we could then actually serve our Lord or appreciate our Lord, right? But what did we do instead? We hid from him. And because we could see, or they saw, when they knew what the Lord was capable of, it became a different game. They did exactly as Joshua was explaining to his guys when he was taking them, when they were starting to go conquer, right? Joshua said, look, you're going to serve either Yahweh or your other gods, the gods of your father. But he said something very interesting. He said, if you feel it is evil to serve the Lord, why would it be evil to serve the Lord? And it's because of the things that they were being told they had to do. They had to go in and wipe out these people, wipe out those people. Very, very specific on the means and ways that it happened. Now, we go through archaeology and take looks around and we say, okay, did this place really exist? And sure, they find stuff and then they say it, well, this is probably it. This must be it, right? Because it's mentioned in that book. I'm going to tell you something. That book will work even outside of the earth. You can take it anywhere. And if you can read it and understand its purpose and what it's actually trying to help you to do, it works anywhere. I don't give a crap if you're on the moon. Okay? Good is good. And evil is a stem cell. Evil is not good, but it can be. Evil's weird, right? It looks like evil, but it just all evil is means undefined, unnamed. It doesn't have a name yet. It doesn't have a purpose. God hasn't claimed it, and like the devil hasn't claimed it. But really, the devil is the nameless guy. He doesn't have a name. And that's why if you don't come in the Lord's name, your name is blotted out of that book. Because the Lord's name is in the book. Not Jonathan, not Willie, not Janet, not Harry and Larry and Mo. And I'm going to probably eat those words because somewhere in there probably is like somebody in the Bible named Mo, right? Yeah, that was Moses. Wow, I look like that? Nah. Although yeah, yeah. Uh, no, I don't need to make such a dramatic statement. God's going to do it for me. Because if people won't listen to what I'm telling them, the world's just going to continue the way it is for another 2,000 years, maybe 7,000 years, however long it lasts, right? You know, there's a guy back there that they killed a long time ago, and his name was Jesus, and he said, any time will do. And I can prove that he was exactly right and not lying, and that we are a bunch of idiots for waiting so long. Yeah. That's the nice thing about the this book because it's written like a computer program. It can't be broken. And it can't be broken. That's the thing. You ever heard of an if statement? If, right? If, then. It's a choice. Sometimes there's if, then if, and then you can even nest them together to like break something down. And this book has all the right ifs in all the right places. What do you do? You know, if it says, if it says, step in the street, a car will run over you. What? Just because you throw the book away, it doesn't happen? Sorry. I'm not going to lie. Wanted to troll you, but you're actually a chill guy. Have a good one, bro. Nah, I know. I have a very hard job, brother. And like I don't let things upset me because that's what's happened with this book. Gaslighting on the other side of the freaking planet. And what's happened, it's got so bad that people are like just trying to leave there and come in here. I mean, I'm in America and everybody's just trying to run away from it. And why? I don't know. Maybe these people could actually see what I can see. We're victims of a book, okay? And I'll tell you simply, yeah, man, you're honest. I appreciate you. I love you for that. That's a mark of sincerity. I was going to troll you, but you're a chill guy. And it's like, yeah, man, that's all we need is honesty. Be real about each other, right? I ain't nobody special. Nobody is. We're all on the same damn ball of dirt, flying through space and trying to figure out how to live, man. You know, go love somebody. Don't torture people just because you can. If you know what it is, when you find somebody that you control, you're seeing somebody that's no, it's okay. No, I'll just explain to you what you're doing, and you don't even realize it. You're actually discovering people that are so freaking torn apart in life, like the guy on Best Score. He just can't take it anymore, and it's like, well, I kind of can't either, but I understand the importance of every breath that I take, being able to try and expose this problem with this book. Okay, yeah, I believe in God. I believe because there's I'm a math guy, so I can see mathematics in this book. You know, when it says calculate, literally, there's a, I mean, that's the beauty of binary code. It's ones and zeros. It's on or off. And a zero really is like quantum. It's sitting in a superposition, right? It can be a zero and look like it's nothing, but what happens if you put a one in front of it, right? What happens if you put a decimal behind it? Whoa, wow, then it really gets wild, right? Now you're venturing into how many times can you cut the baby in half? But this book is a math gig. It's freaking algebra as a word problem. What is algebra? You have the answer, and then you got to fill in all the junk in the middle so that the back end is true. Well, that's what this book is. It's saying, hey, here's heaven, and then you look inside there and it tells us all the shit we're screwing up. And judging is the worst part of it. Okay? We don't even realize the depths at which we're suckers to this thing. Watch this. Who is it that goes around like a roaring lion seeking whom he can catch in his sins? I don't know, but the local police do a damn good job of it too, don't they? Hmm. Did you know that a badge, the term badge is actually a meat eating cat? Hi, officer. And I'm not saying that, you need police, right? You need somebody with some muscle to step in and stop things. But the police don't do that anymore. The police, have a go, man. The police don't do that anymore. They just show up and go, oh, there's a problem. Arrest them all. Let the judge sort it out. And so you're automatically guilty, fingerprinted, booked, and all of that crap when somebody tells a lie about you. And it's like, really? I don't know. Part of me wants to be offended. I am obviously offended, but I'm hurt and really concerned. It's like a shitty road to create and try and walk down, man. We're gonna like. I'm surprised we last this long. We're going down. If I can't reach the theologians to show them a problem in a stupid book, we are going down and hard and by our own hand. By our own hand. Uh, it's funny. It's like in order, when you're alive, you have to be categorized, right? As far as good or evil. Just bear with me. It's not that. We're all numbers on a spreadsheet somewhere, right? God's office. Yeah, number 449 there. He's really pissing me off lately. But he keeps mentioning my name and he loves me, so what can I do? But it's like we have to be categorized. There has to be a way to say you're good or bad, right? Positive, negative, however you want to, just reason, logic, code, on or off, right? Everybody has that switch. And that's what this book is about. It's about showing us that if you think of it from a spiritual perspective, the works that you do support a particular kind of spirit. And people be like, they think like, evil spirits, flying angels and all this stuff. Forget about all that. Think about a feeling and a mood, okay, as a spirit goes. And don't let anybody tell you that, oh, emotions are bad or whatever. You know what? I'm sorry. If you don't have any emotions, you're pretty dangerous because you don't consider people's like pain or if maybe they're doing something wrong, all the problems that cause them to be pushed to that point where they break, right? If you don't have mercy and love and compassion for people, wow, man, just like go away or something. You know what I mean? And I don't know how a person like that can actually enjoy life. You know, this would have to be somebody that doesn't have that monologue in their head when they think. You know, like they look around and they got, you know, thoughts going on in your head, like a voice, right? Some people say they don't have that voice, and I can't comprehend it. Do you just walk around just, I mean, when you look at something, don't you think, pick that up? How come you don't hear a voice saying, pick that up? You know, and it's not, I don't hear like, it's not like a competition, right? Like I'm yelling at my skull, hey, be quiet in there. I'm trying to talk to my friends on YouTube. You know, it's not like that, but it is your thoughts, right? I can't, I, I can't conceive it. And so I would like to do an experiment worldwide. I want to know how many people actually hear that voice and how that affects their faith. If they hear that voice in their head as they think, that monologue, you know, do does that cause them to be a person of faith, or is there any association with that and a person of faith? We got to get inside our heads somehow and stop this thing because we are taking a book and like destroying each other with it, and it's a pity. Um, there's nothing going on in the Middle East that I believe that my God would be proud of. Okay, our God, it ain't going on, right? Um, man, it's so messed up because Jesus has been made an idol, right? Just know his name. Wear him on a cross around your neck. He did everything. I don't have to do nothing anymore. Uh, wrong. And then because of that, and this is pitiful, you have the people of Judaism that won't accept Jesus as the Messiah. And they should have the smarts to be able to read the New Testament, see how it links to the Old, and basically identify what happened and that they should not have killed this guy. And that's what Paul says. Paul says if the leaders of the time had known, quote unquote, this, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. And that is a big problem, isn't it? Because it's like everybody says, well, he had to die. No, he did not have to die. He did not have to die. He became a curse for us. We that was did not have to happen. We did a very, very, very bad thing. And we're going to suffer until the end until we resolve this issue. You know, I want somebody to come flying out of the sky to save me too. But unfortunately, if you go back to the way these things were interpreted, you can see where the problems happen. You know, when you switch from Judaism to Christianity, people don't understand about anymore about the dualism of God that you have. You know, if you're a Jew, it's understood that you kind of have like 1,000. 10. In Judaism, it's understood that you, as a person, you as a person have two different, they say two different inclinations, or sometimes they'll even say like two different souls. You have one soul, and that's the breath of life, because that's when man became a living soul. But with that breath of life comes the ability to do all things, because that spirit comes from the Lord. And if you read Isaiah 45:7, he says, I form light and I create darkness. Two very different things. I make peace and I create evil. Yeah, it says that. I, the Lord, do all these things. And so when you realize that the Lord is in charge of the whole ball of wax here, guess what? You got to start really understanding how to divide the word so that you can understand how a God that we call good can create evil. But what you got to understand is we you know how it says the older will serve the younger? He serves us, but in a very interesting way. He gives us the desires of our heart. He's told us to meditate on good things and to desire the good things. But if you desire something bad, he's got to give it to you. He rested from creating on when the Sabbath. You want to know why things are created now and who creates them for him? Us. Because the only thing that's going to be created from now going forward is more evil that needs to be undone. Evil is a created thing. Light and peace are formed and made, right? Look at the difference between those two. Formed and made produce light and peace. Okay? Creation or creating produces evil and darkness. Now look at Genesis 1. In the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth is darkness and now can you see what happened? He created the heavens and the earth, but the heavens weren't dark and void. Why? Because he's one. He's one. When we see darkness and void, we're immediately we're apprehensive, right? Like afraid of the dark. You can't be a Jew if you're afraid of the dark, because that's our job, is to turn darkness into light. Because darkness is light. It's just not light yet. Paul explains this. Well, Psalm 139:12. If you read Psalm 139, you'll see, the sovereignty of our Lord moving in everything. I can't hide from you here. I can't go over there. There is no darkness. There's no such thing. He doesn't look at things, and he doesn't look at the things he does and sees evil, right? Um, yeah. We're so screwed, man. Ronaldo Sabere. Sibere. Sabere. 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 Man, I'm looking like Mahomes now, huh? Doing the what was it? Shoop de LaRue or Bundle Brewski? Yeah, no. He'll do it though. Oh man, yeah. We don't know the terminology, like the context of all the different words that are used. Like you're a host of heaven. Do you realize that? You are a host of heaven. You are supposed to host the spirit that is, of the Lord of heaven, right? Goodness. um, but, you know, remember, heaven has both in it. So when it's referring to Lord of hosts, uh, that's good or bad. That's talking like both sides. You know what? I bet you we could find something like that in Scripture. Give me a second. Take a look. I bet you I can look up hosts. Let's see. Blue Letter Bible. You know what? Let's look. Let's go right for Isaiah, because he'll be saying it in there. He'll be mentioning it that way. Oh, look at that. On that day, the Lord will punish the host of heaven, in heaven, and the kings of the earth. Okay, so did you see what did I just say? I said it's when he's working on both, right? So look at he's going to punish the host of heaven, in heaven, and the kings of the earth. So it's both. There. For the Lord is enraged against all the nations. All the nations. And furious against all their hosts. Okay? He has devoted them to destruction, has given them over for slaughter. Now, and that's exactly what I'm talking about when you have to be careful what it is that you ask for. If you try to do bad, you might not be stopped. You might be allowed to go and through with whatever you're doing that's bad so that you can learn from it. Right? I don't know. Maybe that's my problem why I keep coming back here to this place because I have weird psychic strange people that tell me, I've been here many times and they don't know how many times. My soul, I have an old soul is what they say. And it's like, I don't know. I can't see any other thing to do here. You definitely, if I wanted to be complacent, I would just say, okay, yeah, God's got this. And he does. He does. Absolutely. I'm not saying God's out of control. I'm trying to shorten the time for the sake of the saints. Okay. Uh, Evil doesn't have to be played out to its max. It doesn't have to be paid back 7 times, right? Um, unless you actually do something that's evil. Like if somebody killed Cain, he would be avenged 7 times because the deed that would have caused his death would then be what? And it's interesting that the spirit of Cain, he says, I will be an aimless wanderer, which means what? I won't have a name. I won't be associated with anybody. I won't have like a purpose or whatever. And what does God say? No, I'll put a mark on you. So you know, we get marked either way. When we talk about the mark of the beast, um, you that happens all the time. That's not in the future. That's whatever you do that's wrong. You've marked your right hand with a bad deed. It's like putting blood on your hands. And how do you shed blood on your hands or get the blood off? Don't sin. Spilling blood of somebody else to get the blood off your hands is idiotic. It doesn't work like that. The best way to shed the blood from your hands, do not sin. Don't spill another man's blood. And Jesus pushed that all the way back to like murdering within your heart. So, but yeah, when you see this word hosts, and that was a good one right there. But like I said, we don't uh, we don't read we don't read this book correctly. Um, and because of it, it's a weapon and a very bad one. It's doing a lot of damage. And and I can't help but feel like Ruth, right? Does anybody not see that? Can anybody else see this? You know, where are they? Where are these people? Am I the only one? If I'm the only one, that's not good because that's placing me at Lord level on one side or the other. Think of that. I need another witness, somebody else who can see this thing. It is not good for man to be alone. And you know the best thing he should have with him? The Torah. She won't wrong you. Now you can make love to her and have bad children, but she won't wrong you ever, not intentionally. Make her your friend. Do you have any Bible questions or anything that bothers you about God that that I can maybe try to explain, like why this or why that or any of that? You know, throw it out there. I'll keep keep helping. Well, no, it's not slave owners. Uh, See, it's different. I understand. Let me first off say I understand why you're upset, and you should be. Um, it's not. I mean, it's a well. You can call it slavery if you want, but really, uh, it's like this. If you know anything about these scriptures, it'll say in there, or people will say, you know, Jesus said, right? The son always does what he sees his father doing, right? And it's like, yeah, great. Problem. There's two fathers, which means there's two sons, sons of God or sons of perdition. The sons always do what they see their father doing. You know what that means? When I see you and what you're doing, I know who your father is. You know what that then means? If you're not on my team, I need to just distance myself from you. I don't point, I don't accuse. I do like Job did, and I avoid what I want to, if it's evil, then if I want to say they're on the other team. But I don't see those teams like I see two teams that are working for the same thing, man. Is this something said in the book? Absolutely. No, no, no. That is not said where it says sons of God and sons of perdition. But see, that's the thing. We're cut in half, and you have to serve one of two fathers. Everything is either or. It's not specifically said in that way, but Jesus says, whoever is not for you is against you. Guess what? You just identified two teams. And he said, whoever. Those two teams, again, two different fathers. They each have their own sons. Those sons do what they see their father doing. And that means that when I have seen you, I've seen the Father or your Father. I will see your Father through you. You get it? And so guess what? If I see, and that's where Jesus said, we're not to judge another master's servant. There's only there's only two masters. So if I can't judge, that's why he said, if you judge, then you've judged yourself, because you're not supposed to judge another master's servant. If somebody's work, if my master is God, I should be trying to do good to honor my father, him, right? Otherwise, if I'm even unintentionally, this is the problem with this book. I can unintentionally honor God, because that means the laws are written on my heart and I'm doing good. I don't need a book. I don't need anybody or anything. I need exactly what that book says I need, just to do the right thing. And that's it. That's the bottom line. But once you can see, there's parts of it that are kind of hidden, but they have to be there, because if he's describing a two master system, you've got one good and one bad. And then how do you figure out, how do you make the transition from being in the middle zone to one or the other? Well, that's what the Son of Man is. And when he said the Son of Man has nowhere to rest his head, this is in there, okay? Really, this is in the book. It says, Jesus says, the Son of Man has nowhere to rest his head. And then 2 verses later, it says, and then they went with him to see where he was staying. And there's a reason why they put those verses so close together, so you can realize that when you read, hopefully it'll make a light go off, right? Epiphany. Oh, that brightened. Hey, light go off. And you should go, wait a minute, I'm missing something here. Because he just said, I have no place to rest my head. And now he's like, come here, I'll show you where I'm hanging out. And that's our problem. See, we don't realize this book is written for 2 different situations. One that exists and already is, okay? And the coming to be situation, like where everything comes from, right? It's a helpful book, but it's damn dangerous, because as soon as and literally the book talks about this and says it itself. It says in Isaiah that in end times, like, when the world's going to end or whatever, that nation will not raise sword against nation. And you want to know what they're talking about? Their books, their scriptures, their Bibles. And it says they will turn their weapons into farming implements. Okay, agriculture sounds nice, but when you read the book, what is it about? Dirt. A bag of dirt right here with a spirit inside it that gives it life. And so that's why there was a gardener outside the tomb when Jesus was resurrected and they found the tomb. There was a gardener there. And everybody just writes that off, like, why the hell would they mention that if it didn't have a purpose, right? And, they went to the tomb and they saw a man standing there, and he happened to be smoking Pall Malls, What? Wait. Shouldn't he want a camel? It's like, and that's what this book has done. God has literally, if you want to consider this book is from God, this book is destroying us. And we deserve it because of the way we treat each other. And again, I don't know who you are. I don't have anything against you. I don't know what you believe. You could be Hindu, Muslim, what I'm telling you, it doesn't matter. God of all gods is what it says. Now, this may be shocking to you, but you are a small quotes God. And the reason I say that is because of something that Jesus said. Jesus said, this is right before they killed him. This is what got them to upset enough to kill him. Was Jesus was trying to explain that we are like small gods to the God of gods. So he's like runs everything. And instead of thinking pawns, kings, knights, rooks, no. You think God of gods and all our pawns, slaves, working both sides of the street even, just because it's a rule book. Can you break a rule book just because the one who wrote it doesn't exist? What if those rules are that tight? And that's what we're dealing with. So you don't address God commanding people to dash babies on rocks. Even that is wrong. It's not what it's talking about. Watch. This book is about it's about a spiritual thing, okay? I'll explain it to you. There's terms in there that are used like lady wisdom, right? What is wisdom? Wisdom can come in two forms. It can be something that you know, but then you don't do it, which means you've done something that's not wise, even though you know wisdom. But all wisdom is just like it's like telling you the best process, right? And lady wisdom, the Torah, it tells you which, how, and what you should do and why. But as soon as we start to, and so what happens is think of life as I'm interacting with a knowledge book, this tree of knowledge of good and evil. I'm interacting with it, and I'm trying to get the good out of it, right? And that's what Lady Wisdom is. She's like she bears, it would be like Eve. All life comes from that source. But what's going to come from it? Will it be good or will it be evil? Right? They're both in there automatically, right from the beginning. I form light, I create darkness, I make peace, I create evil. It's saying that you have free will as a being as a God. You can create, you can destroy, you can love, you can hate. But don't take that term God to mean anything more than just showing you your position in a game where there are rules and they're based on love, which is what Jesus tried to show us, right? But when it's talking about dashing your kids on the rocks, consider my offspring. So in other words, you got to understand this one word, and it's kind of hard because I know I'm coming at you 1,000 miles an hour, but the word K-N-O-W, know, okay? In the book it says, when a man knows a woman, she has kids. Well, I don't pick up a magazine and look at a woman and go, oh, I know her, and all of a sudden she's pregnant, right? It doesn't happen that way. It's referring to a connection between these two people that is going to make something at the end of it. And that's what Lady Wisdom is. But Lady Wisdom, she can have two different husbands, God or the devil. And then guess what happens? Her children then are what? Sons of God or children of wrath. See how it splits? And what happens when you're talking about dashing your kids on the rocks? It's not talking about physical kids. It's talking about you wasting your efforts by doing something that is useless or stupid or purposeless. That's what this book is about. And it's been turned into, somebody out there that's going to come and get us, and maybe he will, and he's going to show up at any time. But yeah, 2,000, 4,000, how many thousands of years going to go by until we revisit this thing, go, are we doing something wrong here? We've been waiting for a long time, and Jesus said we shouldn't have been waiting. We're not supposed to wait. If I had to give you anything, I'd say go out there and love somebody. You see somebody that's hurting, I don't care who they are, black, green, blue, drunk, help that person out. That's the only thing that's going to fix this place is love. That's it. Kids of your enemies, not your kids. Kids of your enemies, remember, your enemy is within you. When it's referring to you destroying your kids, it's saying that you're going to have some kind of fruit coming out of you. And you're either going to have sons, children that are worthy to be taken away. When that woman gives birth in Revelation and that child is snatched away because it's a male child, it's a boy. The boy is just a way to refer to good. Okay? Boy is just a way to refer to good. if you go in the other direction, I actually have a brother-in-law named Boy. They call him Boy. But Boy, and he's good. But oh man. See, this is something that you would have to sit down and you'd want to. But here's what I'm telling you. Don't pick on Christians. Don't pick on Jews. Don't pick on people that are religious because they just don't understand what in the hell they are doing. They really don't. They're terrified by their books so much that it puts a pressure on them and causes them to do things that obviously would not please the God that they're trying to serve, but they're so scared that they don't have any trust in the God that they're trying to serve. Because you see the problem? If you trust that book for everything that it says, everything will work out fine. As soon as you turn it into a weapon, it's the worst of any kind because it's right from God. It's like a damn walking across a tightrope. But do you not know the part of the book I'm talking about? They were commanded to destroy everything. It wasn't a metaphor. It was God's command. Did it say to tear down the people? Or did it say down to tear down their altars, their poles, all of that stuff, right? Again, you can metaphor it out, and I think that that's what Jesus saw. He saw a kind God instead of an angry, destructive God. Because I'll tell you what Jesus brought, okay? That may have been the Old Testament and the old law, but Jesus saw what I see, that it doesn't work that way, that you should not destroy your enemy. You should feed your enemy. You should pray for your enemy. You should clothe your enemy. Why? Because there are no enemies. There are just greater and lesser. The ones that are lesser, just because they're less than you, does that make you right to destroy them? That's exactly what Cain did to Abel. Because he was the firstborn son. How come I should be blessed? I'm the firstborn son. So God can change? No, God can't change. Now, here's the problem. Are you talking about Elohim or Yahweh Elohim? Because that's our problem. We call God just God, and that doesn't work because you can see that there's differences between those different names that are used when we refer to God. You are Elohim. Okay, that word when it says in the beginning, Elohim created. Now remember, created is darkness and evil. That sounds more like something man would do than God, doesn't it? In the beginning, Elohim created. Darkness and evil are created things. That's Isaiah 45:7. Okay? Elohim created. Now the earth is formless and void, and darkness is over the face of the deep. Wow. Exactly as it says. He really did create it, didn't he? And then what does it say? Let there be light. And then comes the forming and the making process. Now, if you read about Elohim, it doesn't say these things about Elohim, God. But if you read about Yahweh, the Lord, or Lord God, you'll notice some very peculiar things. Because, again, you should gravitate and you got to understand Isaiah 45:7. I form light, I create darkness. You have to give sovereignty to the Lord to say, look, good, evil, whatever, you are in charge. Start there. Then you got to say, okay, well, how does the Lord decide? Right? Well, for us, it's works or beginnings. Do we work on what we got or do we start over again with a new beginning? Right? And that's what it is. Because when you read Isaiah 45:7, you can see that darkness and evil are under the word created. Different word. All right? Light and peace are formed and made. Two other different words. And I would stress that the idea that Adam, man, was formed, and Jesus says light of the world, right? And Eve was what? Made from the rib. And he said, what? I'm making all things new. He was referring to your spirit inside of you, ruah, that's a female word. Torah, that's a female word because it can produce good or evil. The woman can always do either or. And that's why Ra, evil, is a female word. That's why she got her name, Eve. Okay? Because evil comes at the beginning of everything. And then evil can either remain in the darkness, being misunderstood, not understanding its purpose, or it can be called into the light and become light. Because anything that is exposed in the light is illuminated and is therefore light. We got this book way off. It's a damn battle we're up against, and I hate it. If you want to know how yes, I am a godly man, but I also have an IQ of 178. And I need to be working on other things instead of a book and a bunch of fools that are worried about Disneyland when they die. Okay? Fix what you got here. Worry about Disneyland when you get there. When you get there, if you're able to actually turn around and come back and tell us and warn us, why don't you do some of that? And I think I might be one of those people. No way to tell that actually happened besides these books. But what's the reality? The books are the thing, right? The war is happening over there because of a book, because of things that are said and promises that were made by somebody that's out there that we can't even see them, look at them, show their face. How do you defend that? I say let him show up and defend it. And he is. Because when you read that book in the wrong way, it is a weapon and a sword and it takes peace from the earth instead of bringing it. And it has the ability to do both if you know how to read it. As soon as you start to think, create teams and them and they, listen, I'm alive because there's a breath of life inside of me. That's why I am alive. And you know what? You have that very same thing in you, and I don't give a flying fart what it is you're doing. Anything and nothing. I care about nothing what you've done. Because I can't judge you because inside of you is the very same thing that's inside of me. I'm just using it for good. And I hope you do the same. And then obviously, when I've seen you, I've seen your Father based off your works. And if your dad is my dad, hey, well, where two or more are gathered, then he's there. I guess where two or more bad people are gathered, he's there too, isn't he? The sons always do what they see the fathers doing. Jesus only taught us like half of this thing, or explained it that way. But when you understand some of these other teachings that were ripped away and we don't have anymore, like the Gospel of Thomas explains all this. But people, when they read it, they don't understand it. And they think it's a bunch of crap. Why? Because the very last phrase, you want to know what it says? Saying number 114. Peter's talking to Jesus and he says, Master, we should distance ourselves from Mary. Now they think that means Mary as a person. But you got to understand that Mary means bitter, as in bitter water, and Jesus was living water. So Peter could have just as easily been saying, we need to distance ourselves from evil, because evil is not worthy of the kingdom of God. But he said Mary. So he said women are not worthy of the kingdom of God, is what he said. But he's referring to people that use the Torah to make their decisions, like mumbling back and forth, lady wisdom like that. No, you do what it says, period, right? But it says women are not worthy of the kingdom of heaven. And then Jesus says, I will draw her near to me. In other words, he's going to teach her the same teachings as the men, that she would be male as you. Now, what are you telling me? Jesus is going to convert somebody from male to female, or female to male? Kind of sounds funny that all this transitioning thing is going on at this time, doesn't it? That's because we got impacted with an end time spirit hit us. And we should there and I'm sent. I'm one of them people that can tell you what the hell's going on. But unfortunately, I can sit down here and scream. It's a big damn world to try and get your voice out there. I could have stopped the pandemic and I could have prevented the war in Israel because I saw it coming. I dreamt of it before it happened. We're in a machine. We're in a machine and there's rules and you have to be, you have to consider other people. That's the best thing to do because you don't know who they are or what part of the machine they support, right? You cut somebody off in traffic and you're rude to them and what happens? They go home and then they like what? Take it out on their family or, I don't know. It's like causing people to be angry is not a good plan. And yeah, I'm sorry. When Jesus said they hated me, okay, because they do their works, he was representing the devil when he said that because he was convicting and pointing at people to judge them. They don't like me because I spoil their works. I'm the Satan. I get it done. And that's Judaism. Satan is not like an outcast in Judaism. He's a part of the game. That's why God let him into the meeting with, in the book of Job, because the book of Job is about Satan's job of considering. And that's what we're supposed to do. Have you considered my servant Job? And we read it and go, have you considered my some person? That book is to say, have you considered my servant Job? There's none like it. You're blameless. You're upright. I protect you. Blah, 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 right? All on down the line. And it's funny because we see that servant as being some type of oppression. Somebody even mentioned slavery. And it's like the devil says something really funny. He says, does Job fear God for nothing? And then he rattles off a list of all these blessings. Not that Job didn't have any fear because he did what he was supposed to do. And then God could bless him, right? So it's like fearing the Lord is not it shouldn't be seen as like like a negative thing. Dude, that's your gateway to like the golden age. Because he can't break his promises. He can't break his promises. Every time he says every time, it's an opportunity. But if we don't, there's an if to the if we don't see that, we don't trust the teaching, okay? Jerusalem means teaching of peace. When this city, the new Jerusalem, is supposed to come down from heaven, I think it's more likely that a book or a teaching, a way of thought is going to come down from heaven versus like a bunch of real estate. Okay? Make the book real. It will really help us. Any questions? I got an hour and 3 in, and I'll go for days. You give me food, I'll sit here and preach and tell us how we screwed this thing up sideways, left ways, inside out, and upside down. But you can't do it backwards because going backwards actually repairs it. That's why they walk backwards. They didn't want to look upon the nakedness. They're just like, you're not even supposed to look at that. What are you doing? Nakedness don't count. There's clues all through the thing where if you can catch these little bits of verses, you tie them all together. It's like little tying all the threads together, the cords, right? That word K-N-O-W is huge because when it says God is all knowing, well, I don't know. When a man knows a woman, she has fruit. Does that mean he screws everything up? Yeah. If we don't do it his way. It's his way or our way. His words save us. We are, like the Levites. We're hosting the temple the way we should, right? But guess what? There's an opposite side to that. Leviathan, the chaos monster, right? With 7 heads and all of that. There's organization structure that leads to good, or there's chaos and wreckage that what? Leads to good. Eventually it will lead to good. Because right now we're in the mode where the indescript beast is grinding what's left of heaven. Okay, our doctrine, our religions, all of that. The way it's doing it is by creating war, struggle, strife, and like myself, I'm going, a book is the problem. What do you think will happen when the rest of the world, the people that don't believe, are sick of religion? It's going to go bye-bye. It's going to go bye-bye because they're going to be like, we're sick of your fantasy land crap. Look at what you're doing over here. You've murdered women, children. You've destroyed like an entire city. Okay? Yeah. We're in big trouble. And I don't want to be the guy to bring it. But I'm not going to write a book. At least I don't plan to. Anyway, because books are trouble. People read books, they get ideas, and then they, you know, fear is either a very good thing or a very bad thing. You know, you could be standing on the edge of the Grand Canyon looking at the beautiful sight, and then somebody jumps behind you, boo, and the next thing you know, you're over the side, right? Do not fear. Do not fear each other. Do not fear me. Please. Begging. No way to tell that actually happened besides the books. But even who says the books aren't even parts of them aren't made up, right? That's where I struggle. It's hard for me because see, these books were written over a great period of time, right? Hundreds, if not maybe thousands of years that these writings were generated. And people, everybody else in the world wants to go, he wrote it, he didn't, that guy didn't exist, all this problems, right? You want to know what I don't think, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I can see where all those words are pointing to one and the very same thing. Every last one of them. I don't care what it is that you believe, you know. And there you can identify the mindset even in like the Quran where, Muhammad is saying things that almost seem kind of rude, right? He's saying things like, you know, you should be happy if I put a curse on you. And it's like, as a prophet, if you really believed God at that level, that, that he did something to you like that, I mean, look what Job said, right? Uh, though he slay me, yet I will trust in him, which is basically what it's boiling down to. If God is interacting with you in any way, shape, or form, you should be grateful for it because once he stops, you don't exist anymore. You don't even have a purpose. You won't have a breath of life. We're not here for ourselves. We're here for everybody else. I'm here for you. You're here for me. We're here for everybody else. Whoever's not for you is against you. Just remember that. There's 2 teams, 2 fathers, and the sons always do what they see their fathers doing. If I see somebody, I've seen their father. If their father has works that are different than my father, I know they're on the other side. And then I don't bother to judge because I know that their father will teach them. Father of lies has a purpose. The devil, he has a purpose. He's there to torment you, beat you up, torture you, to hopefully stop you from, doing what's bad. That is what is death. Living, purposeful, that's life. It doesn't mean that you're going to be zapped and blown into hell. I'm not saying that that can't happen, I suppose, but I think we're in hell right now. This is the lake of fire. It's not someplace else. And you're like, well, wait a minute, but that was made for the devils and his associates, right? And it's like, well, if we're born into a fallen creation, and Satan is the ruler of this world, does Satan rule the earth, or does he rule hell or lake of fire? Does he get two places? How come he gets two and God only gets one? uh, we're toast. Going down. My finger's healing up really well. I don't know who you are, Mrs. Nurse Lady, but God bless you. I love you. I You have been the biggest blessing to me, because I know that my little finger probably would have cost me, oh, I don't know, probably $1,000 or so to get somebody to go in there and poke in this and drain that and do all this and whatever. And like, you took it back to simple and Stone Age and works. And I just want to say that I'm very grateful to you, whoever you are. God made you a blessing. But you have to decide to do it, right? Anyway, yeah, I don't know if that helps you out, gamer. It's like this. I look at it this way. You know what? Yesterday, I can't change. I can't change yesterday, except for one way. I can make yesterday worthwhile, no matter what happened, if I can learn a lesson from it and move forward and not continue stupidity, right? So, um, wow, man, we waste our lives in this place all over something that we don't even know exists, right? The only one who has seen heaven is the one who came from heaven. That sounds like a problem. And what did he say? The Son of Man. And what have we determined? You are a son of man. Have you seen heaven? It's right in front of your face. And why can't you see it? Because it is a time not seen, right, since the beginning of time. Because it used to be here, but we broke it, and now we're looking at heaven. We're staring at it, but it's broken, and we need to fix it. And if we don't want to, well, I guess Coochie don't want to. Coochie don't want to. Please, Coochie, please, Coochie. All right. That was a really old joke, I remember. And then the husband came home and he said, Coochie, get off of my wife. Coochie don't want to. Coochie don't want to. That was a really old joke when I was a kid, man. This is a shitty way to die. Yeah. Shalom. Shalom.